Have you ever felt that fire deep inside you, that inner drive to achieve something more but couldn't quite figure out how to tap into it? Or maybe you've set goals in the past, only to watch them slip away, buried under distractions and doubts. It's time to change all that. The truth is, everyone has dreams, but not everyone has the hunger to chase them relentlessly, every single day. In this world, it's not enough to just want success or personal growth. You have to be willing to go after it with everything you've got. You need hunger, real hunger, a deep, unshakable desire to be better, do more, and push past your limits. But how do you make that hunger real? How do you stay focused, disciplined, and motivated when life gets hard? This is exactly what we're diving into today. We'll break down practical steps you can take to get hungry for success and stay hungry, no matter what obstacles come your way. It's not about wishing for it, it's about committing to it every day. No excuses. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to stop settling and start pushing yourself to new heights, then stick with me. What we're about to talk about isn't some motivational fluff. It's real, actionable advice that will help you build the discipline, the habits, and the mindset to make your goals a reality. Get ready to discover the power of hunger, the kind that fuels consistent action, turns ambition into results, and keeps you moving forward even when things get tough. It's time to stop waiting and start doing. It's time to get hungry. Chapter 1. Awaken the fire to take full control now. Most people don't realize how much power they're carrying inside. They live on autopilot, reacting to life instead of directing it. They wake up each day, hoping things will be different, but they take the same actions, repeat the same thoughts, and feel the same frustrations. Nothing changes because they haven't awakened the fire inside them. They haven't made the decision to take full control of their life. That's what this chapter is about. It's about taking that moment where everything finally clicks, when you say enough is enough, and you stop waiting for permission. You decide that your time is now, not tomorrow, not next month. Now, taking control of your life doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means making the choice to no longer drift. It means choosing to stop blaming the past, stop making excuses for the present, and start building the future you want to live in. Real control starts the moment you stop being okay with being stuck. It's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about refusing to stay powerless. If you look closely at anyone who has rebuilt their life, overcome the odds, and achieved something real, you'll always find one common thread. They made a decision. They reached a point where the pain of staying the same became greater than the fear of change. They didn't wait for external motivation. They didn't wait for the right moment. They created it. They took full ownership of their actions, their mindset, and their direction. To awaken the fire inside you, you must stop negotiating with your weaknesses. You can't keep entertaining the same excuses. You can't keep hoping something magical will happen. Fire doesn't appear out of nowhere. You have to strike it. You have to want it more than the comfort of staying the same. That desire is the beginning of your transformation. The fire is your hunger to live with purpose. It's the feeling deep in your gut that says you're capable of more. It's the restless energy that pushes you to rise above your fears, your doubts, and your old patterns. That fire is already there. You just haven't fed it enough. You've let distractions, noise, and other people's opinions water it down. But it's still there. And the moment you stop settling for less, it starts burning again. Control isn't about external circumstances. It's about how you respond to them. Life will test you. Life will challenge you. That's not something you can avoid. What you can control is your response. And that response is everything. You can either react emotionally and lose your power, or you can pause, breathe, and respond with clarity. That's the beginning of strength. You need to shift your mindset from victim to creator. A victim waits to be rescued. A creator builds a way out. A victim blames circumstances. A creator uses them as fuel. A victim complains about life. A creator learns from it. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens in moments of decision. And every day you are given those moments. Every single day you wake up, you are given a chance to either stay asleep or wake up and live with intensity. If your fire is low, it means you've stopped feeding it with truth. The truth is that you are not helpless. The truth is that you are not stuck. The truth is that you are not broken. You've just believed the lies for too long. Lies that say you're not good enough. Lies that say it's too late. Lies that say you'll never change. Burn those lies with the truth. You're still here. That means you still have time. That means your story isn't over. That means your power is still within reach. Start where you are. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until you feel confident. Action builds confidence. Movement creates momentum. Take one step. Speak one truth. Remove one excuse. Replace one habit. Focus on one thing you can control today. That's how you start reclaiming your power. Taking control is not about controlling everything around you. It's about mastering what's inside you. Your thoughts, your choices, your reactions. That's where real control begins. You don't need more motivation. You need more action. Action generates clarity. Action reveals strength. Action brings the fire back. You must become honest with yourself. Brutally honest. Where have you been drifting? Where have you been lying to yourself? Where have you allowed weakness to take the lead? Face it without shame. But don't avoid it. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. Be raw with yourself. What do you truly want? What do you know you've been avoiding? What patterns have you repeated that have kept you stuck? This isn't about perfection. This is about intention. It's about owning your life without excuses. It's about deciding that even if the past has been full of mistakes, you will not waste another day feeding the same story. It's about taking the pen back and writing a new chapter with discipline, clarity, and strength. Look at your daily habits. Are they building you or breaking you? Are you choosing comfort or choosing growth? The truth is found in what you do consistently. If your days are filled with distractions, procrastination, and escape, your life will reflect that. But if you wake up with purpose, show up with focus, and keep your promises to yourself, you will build something unshakable. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You need to believe in your next step. Just one step. That's all it takes to awaken momentum. Take control of your health. Take control of your time. Take control of your emotions. One small action, done consistently, will set the fire in motion. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to be willing to do the work anyway. No more waiting. No more hoping someone saves you. No more blaming your past. No more letting fear decide your future. You are responsible for your mind, your energy, your effort, and your results. Take full responsibility, and you'll start to feel your power again. Life is waiting for you to stop hiding, stop shrinking, stop stalling. You have to choose to show up, even when it's uncomfortable. Growth only happens when you face what you've avoided. Strength only shows up when you stop running from difficulty. Peace is found not in the absence of struggle, but in the acceptance of your responsibility to rise through it. The fire grows when you feed it with truth, with action, with intention. Every day is a test. Will you show up or shut down? Will you push forward or pull back? Will you rise or retreat? You don't need a perfect plan. You need a committed heart. You need a strong mind. You need to act even when you don't feel like it. That's when real transformation happens. When you act from discipline, not emotion. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel strong. That's why you need to build systems, routines, and habits that don't rely on how you feel. You need structure that keeps you moving when your emotions try to slow you down. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. Build it every day. The moment you start living with purpose, distractions lose their power. You no longer chase validation. You stop looking sideways. You stay locked into your path. That's how you multiply your progress. That's how you make every day count. By staying focused, staying grounded, and staying hungry. Never let a single day go by without doing something that moves you forward, even if it's small, even if it's invisible to others. That's what ownership looks like. That's how the fire stays alive. Through consistent effort that's rooted in your standards, not your mood. You're not going to change your life in one day, but you can change your direction in one decision. You can make a choice today that your future self will thank you for. And that choice is this: I will take full control. I will not waste this life. I will not live numb. I will not surrender to weakness. I will rise. This is your wake-up call, not a motivation boost. A commitment, a vow, a declaration that from this moment on you will no longer betray your potential. You will rise, take control, and build the life you were meant to live. There is no perfect moment to begin. There is only now. And the truth is, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Not the world changing, not luck showing up, not someone believing in you, right here. Right now, this is where it begins. Not by shouting louder, but by standing taller. Not by waiting longer, but by acting stronger. Not by getting approval, but by owning your next move. You already have what you need inside you. You just need to stop running from it. The fire is there, waiting. And it only takes one decision to spark it back to life. A decision to stop drifting, to stop wasting time, to stop letting the past run the show. Today is yours, and if you choose to own it, your future will never be the same. Take a breath, get clear, stand up, step forward, because the moment you awaken the fire inside, you'll never go back to sleep again. The world doesn't owe you clarity, you create it. The world doesn't owe you strength, you earn it. The world doesn't owe you change, you become it. Now is the time. No more delays. No more distractions. No more playing small. Awaken the fire. Take full control. Live like you mean it. Move like you've already won. Act like this is your last chance. Because in many ways it is. This is not a game. This is your life. And it's time to take it back. Chapter 2. Decide today to never settle for average. There is a quiet moment in everyone's life when they realize they've been settling, not for failure, but for something far more dangerous. Average. It creeps in unnoticed. It disguises itself as comfort, stability, and normalcy. You tell yourself things are fine. You're doing okay. You're surviving. But deep down, you know something's off. You're not fully alive. You're not pushing yourself. You're not chasing your full potential. And the longer you stay in that state, the more it becomes your identity. Not because you chose it once, but because you didn't choose something better every single day. Average is not harmless. It's a slow, silent killer of dreams, energy, and potential. It numbs your spirit. It makes you believe that effort is optional. It convinces you that excellence is only for the gifted. It tricks you into thinking you have time to waste. But you don't. Every day you tolerate average. You delay the person you're meant to become. Every time you lower your standards just a little, you train your mind to accept less than you deserve. And before you know it, a week becomes a month becomes a year, and you've built a life that looks safe from the outside, but feels empty on the inside. Deciding to never settle for average isn't about chasing perfection. It's about refusing to live below your capacity. It's a mental contract you sign with yourself that says, I will not waste my life doing just enough to get by. I will not be okay with mediocre habits, thoughts, or results. I will demand more from myself, not because I hate who I am, but because I respect who I could be. That decision has to happen today, not next week, not when you're motivated, not when things feel easier. Now, because the truth is, nothing changes until you decide that staying the same is no longer acceptable. That one decision is the start of every great transformation. It's the line you draw in the sand, where you say, this is the end of average. From now on, I'm chasing excellence in everything I do. And when you make that decision, it needs to be backed by action. You need to raise your standards, not just in your mind, but in your behavior. If you're used to skipping your commitments, start showing up early. If you're used to giving 70%, push yourself to give 100%, even when no one's watching. If your habits are sloppy, tighten them up. Excellence doesn't come from rare bursts of intensity. It's built through consistent effort, even in the smallest moments. You have to treat your life like it matters. Every action counts. Every choice creates momentum. Every hour is either building you or weakening you. When you live with that kind of awareness, you stop wasting time on distractions. You stop complaining about what you can't control. You stop surrounding yourself with people who pull you down. You get focused. You get serious. You get hungry. That hunger is the opposite of average. It's what wakes you up early, drives you to go the extra mile, and keeps you going when comfort calls your name. It's what forces you to confront your weaknesses instead of hiding from them. It's what keeps you moving forward when most people would rather stay still. And it doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. You have to fuel it every day with discipline, purpose, and belief. To never settle for average, you must first define what excellence means to you. Not in vague ideas, but in clear, specific behaviors. What does an excellent day look like for you? What time do you wake up? What kind of energy do you bring? How do you treat your body? What kind of work do you produce? How do you speak to yourself? How do you show up for the people you love? Write it down. Make it real. Then commit to living it. Not once in a while, but every single day. You'll be tempted to drift back into comfort. That's natural. Your mind will look for shortcuts, easy ways out, excuses that sound smart. You'll have moments where you want to hit snooze, skip the hard stuff, lower your standards. That's when your decision is tested. And that's when you need to remember why you made it in the first place. You didn't come this far to go back to average. You didn't wake up today to play small. You chose this path because you knew you were capable of more. Don't betray that truth. Excellence requires discipline. It requires focus. It requires saying no to things that most people say yes to. It means being okay with being different. It means showing up fully, even when you don't feel like it. That kind of commitment is rare, but it's also the only path to a life of meaning, pride, and power. You don't have to be the best in the world, but you do have to give your best every day. Start by looking at the areas of your life where you've allowed average to settle in. Be honest. Where have you been coasting? Where have you been avoiding effort? Where have you been telling yourself it's fine, when deep down you know it's not? Don't judge yourself, just face the truth. Because once you see it clearly, you can do something about it. Maybe it's your health. You've been eating whatever's easy, skipping workouts, letting your energy slip. Maybe it's your time. You've been scrolling, drifting, wasting hours on things that don't matter. Maybe it's your mindset. You've been negative, passive, and full of doubt. Wherever it is, decide today that it stops. Not tomorrow. Today. Take one step that raises your standard. One decision that proves you're serious. Then do it again tomorrow. Then again the next day. That's how the new version of you is built. You don't need to be motivated to begin. You need to begin to feel motivated. Action creates momentum. Movement builds confidence. Every time you follow through on your promise to live above average, you reinforce a new identity. You become someone who demands more. Someone who holds themselves accountable. Someone who doesn't need external rewards to do what's right. That identity becomes your foundation. Average people wait for motivation. Strong people create systems. They don't rely on willpower. They build routines that make excellence automatic. They create environments that support their goals. They surround themselves with people who raise their standards. And when things go wrong, and they will, they don't crumble. They adjust. They adapt. They keep going. This journey isn't about being perfect. You will mess up. You will miss a step. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. What matters is how quickly you bounce back. What matters is your ability to learn from mistakes and move forward without guilt or shame. That's what separates those who grow from those who give up. Never settling for average doesn't mean you never rest. It means you rest with purpose. It means you recharge with intention. It means you use every season of your life to grow, not to escape. Some seasons will be intense, others will be quiet. But in all of them, you keep your eyes on the bigger picture. You stay grounded in your values. You stay focused on becoming someone you're proud of. You don't need a perfect past to build a powerful future. All you need is a choice, a firm, clear, non-negotiable decision that you will never again accept a life that drains you, that you will never again pretend to be okay with average results, average effort, or average thinking, that you will rise above the noise, above the doubt, above the excuses, and do what it takes. You're not like everyone else. You were not built to blend in. You were built to rise, to stand out, to lead. And to do that, you must be relentless. You must set your standards higher than the world around you, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. You must train your mind to stay focused when distractions show up. You must train your body to perform when it's tired. You must train your spirit to stay grounded when pressure hits. That's how you live above average. Everything you want requires sacrifice, more energy, more time, more honesty. But the reward is a life that feels alive, a life that reflects your true strength, a life you don't have to escape from. That's worth fighting for. That's worth building for. You're not here to survive. You're here to lead yourself. You're here to evolve. You're here to break patterns, build habits, and become someone your younger self would admire. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by decision. a decision you must renew every day. This is not just about what you achieve. It's about who you become. It's about knowing that you didn't let comfort steal your life, that you didn't let fear keep you small, that you didn't waste your time pretending things were okay when they weren't, that you had the courage to want more and the discipline to do something about it. This moment is yours, not in theory, in action. Decide now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Decide now to live with intention, to speak with purpose, to act with strength, to move with urgency, and to never again lower your standards to match your surroundings. Raise your surroundings to meet your standards. That's how you shift everything. Every second you hesitate, average wins. Every time you delay, momentum dies. Every time you lie to yourself about what you're capable of, you reinforce a version of you that doesn't even exist. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop waiting to be saved. Save yourself. Choose yourself. Back yourself. The rest will follow. You were not born to settle. You were born to build, to grow, to rise. So raise your expectations. Sharpen your focus. Eliminate what doesn't matter. Show up with intensity. Speak the truth. Do the work. Stay hungry. That's how you kill average. That's how you take your life back. That's how you win. Chapter 3. Build unstoppable discipline through daily focused actions. Discipline is not a gift. It's not something you stumble upon or something you wait to feel. It's a habit you forge, a muscle you build, a standard you commit to. The people who achieve great things are not necessarily the most talented, lucky, or even intelligent. They are the ones who learned to discipline themselves, especially when no one was watching. They do the hard things when it's inconvenient. They focus when distractions are loud. They act with purpose when their feelings beg for comfort. And they repeat this behavior daily until it becomes part of who they are. If you want to create a life that stands for something, you must make discipline your foundation, not just once in a while when inspiration strikes, but every day through focused action. Discipline is what turns good intentions into real progress. It's what transforms goals into habits and habits into identity. Without it, you'll keep starting over. You'll keep wishing. You'll keep drifting between motivation and frustration, always wondering why things feel just out of reach. You cannot build anything lasting without structure. Waking up and hoping you'll feel motivated is a losing strategy. You need a system, a routine, a clear set of actions that you repeat whether you're excited or not. That's how self-control grows. That's how consistency is born. And once you learn to show up on the hard days, the rest starts to fall into place. Because discipline doesn't care how you feel. It only responds to what you do. Start with the basics. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to do everything at once. Focus on doing a few important things well, every single day. Decide on a time to wake up and keep it. Define a small morning routine and follow it. Choose one priority for the day and finish it. Make these non-negotiable. Discipline begins when you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't ask whether you feel like doing it. You just do it. That shift in mindset changes everything. You don't have to be extreme to be consistent. What matters is that you train your mind to follow through, even when there's no instant reward. The world rewards people who can delay gratification, who can say no to easy distractions in favor of meaningful progress, who can stay committed when the outcome is still invisible. That's the invisible war most people lose. They want results now. They want applause now. They want proof that the effort is working. But real growth works differently. It rewards the patient, the consistent, the disciplined. To build unstoppable discipline, you must learn to shrink your focus. Most people fail because they try to do too much too fast. They set unrealistic standards, burn out and quit. Then they blame themselves for not being strong enough. But it's not about strength. It's about strategy. If you want to win the long game, you need a tight focus. One task at a time, one habit at a time. Master that, then build from there. Each day is a test, not a dramatic, life-changing exam, but a quiet test of your habits, your attention, your actions. Will you keep your word to yourself? Will you resist the urge to waste your energy? Will you follow your plan when no one's holding you accountable? These questions shape your life more than any one big moment. Because your future isn't determined by what you do once. It's determined by what you do repeatedly. Stop glorifying intensity and start practicing consistency. It's not impressive to go hard for a week and disappear for a month. What matters is that you show up every single day and do the work, even if it's not flashy. That's how you separate yourself. That's how you become reliable, disciplined, focused. You don't need loud effort. You need quiet mastery. A level of discipline that runs so deep, it doesn't even need to be announced. It just shows up, does the work, and keeps moving. There will be resistance. Your brain will come up with excuses. Your environment will test your focus. Your emotions will push you toward ease. And in those moments, discipline will be your anchor. It will remind you that the path of least resistance leads nowhere worth going. It will remind you that your life is not an accident. It's a reflection of your standards, and it will give you the strength to choose progress over comfort. Build habits that demand your presence. Not passive routines you can sleepwalk through, but deliberate actions that make you better. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about improvement. It's about respecting your goals enough to take them seriously. It's about understanding that your time is limited, and every wasted day is a step backward. Track your behavior. Measure your effort. Not to be obsessive, but to stay honest. The mind loves to exaggerate effort and minimize inconsistency. But numbers don't lie. Keep a log. Write down your targets. Review your actions. Were you focused today? Did you keep your promises? Did you give your full attention, or just enough to feel busy? This kind of reflection builds awareness. And awareness is the birthplace of discipline. Cut out the noise. Eliminate the distractions that keep pulling you away from your priorities. This includes apps, conversations, habits, even people. If something is draining your focus without giving you progress, it's holding you back. Discipline means having the courage to protect your energy, to say no to what doesn't align, to guard your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Replace reactive behavior with intentional action. Don't wake up and respond to whatever the day throws at you. Wake up with a plan. Decide your top priorities the night before. Prepare your environment to support your goals. Discipline is easier when you remove friction. Lay your clothes out. Set your workspace up. Have your meals prepped. The less thinking you have to do, the more energy you can give to execution. Respect your routines. They don't need to be perfect or elaborate. They just need to work. A good routine simplifies your decisions. It creates structure in a chaotic world. It gives your mind a clear path to follow. The more you follow it, the more automatic it becomes. And once it's automatic, it becomes your default. That's how discipline evolves from something you do to someone you are. Use your time blocks wisely. Don't just plan your day, protect it. Give each task a space, and then stay inside that space. When it's time to work, don't check your phone. When it's time to rest, don't feel guilty. When it's time to move, don't delay. Discipline lives in the ability to fully engage in what matters. When it matters, multitasking, switching back and forth, and aimless wandering destroy your momentum. Train your attention to stay where your purpose is. Your energy follows your attention. If you waste your attention, you waste your power. Discipline helps you redirect that power towards something meaningful. It helps you get through the uncomfortable parts of growth. It helps you keep going when progress is invisible. And eventually, the results start to stack. You wake up stronger. You feel sharper. You begin to trust yourself, because you've proven that you can stay focused and follow through. Discipline isn't about feeling tough. It's about being reliable. It's about doing what you said you would do, especially when the emotion you made that promise with has disappeared. It's about showing yourself that you can be counted on. That kind of self-trust is rare. Most people quit on themselves too early. They break promises. They rationalize laziness. But you're not most people. You're here to build something real. Be patient with yourself, but not soft. Growth takes time, but time without pressure leads to stagnation. Push yourself to do a little more than yesterday. Improve your form. Sharpen your focus. Strengthen your habits. The goal is not perfection. The goal is precision. Get clearer. Get cleaner. Get sharper. Daily. That's how you build an edge that lasts. Discipline thrives in simplicity. Don't complicate your routines with unnecessary steps. Focus on what works. Do it well. Repeat it often. If you're struggling to stay consistent, reduce the size of the task until it becomes impossible to miss. Write for 5 minutes instead of an hour. Stretch for 10 minutes instead of skipping the gym. 1 page read is better than none. 1 rep is better than 0. Once momentum kicks in, you can build from there. There's power in the daily grind. The ordinary, unsexy repetition of doing the work. That's where greatness is built. Not in loud wins, but in quiet persistence. In the mornings you rise early, even though you're tired. In the evenings you prepare for tomorrow, even though no one will see it. In the hours you push yourself to stay focused while the world chooses distractions. That's how character is forged. Your future will reflect your discipline, not your ideas, not your hopes, not your inspiration, but your ability to show up, do the work, and repeat the process. Every day you delay building discipline is another day of average outcomes. But every day you commit to focused action is a step toward unstoppable progress. Don't rely on passion to move you forward. Passion fades, excitement comes and goes, but habits remain, systems remain, routines remain. That's the structure you need. Something that holds you accountable, even on your worst days. Something that keeps you aligned even when life feels chaotic. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, but you do owe it to yourself to become disciplined. To become the kind of person who doesn't need pressure to perform, who doesn't need applause to keep going, who does what needs to be done, no matter how they feel. That level of discipline changes everything, from how you show up to how you speak, move and live. There's no secret to discipline, no magic trick, no shortcut. Just consistent action, rooted in purpose, repeated over time. Build the routines, follow them, protect them, adjust when needed, but never abandon the process. Discipline doesn't always feel good, but it always leaves you better. You get to choose. Will you let distraction dictate your days? Or will you take control? Will you wait for the perfect moment? Or will you make this moment count? Discipline begins with a decision, and it's made real through action. So take that action. Focus your mind. Lock in.
and build the life that reflects your strength, your vision, and your highest standard.
Chapter 4. Eliminate weak habits that drain your potential. Weak habits don't always announce themselves. They often disguise as harmless routines, comfortable distractions, or small indulgences. They don't seem dangerous at first, and that's what makes them so deceptive. They operate quietly, slowly draining your energy, stealing your time, and lowering your standards. Over time, they become normal, accepted, embedded into your day-to-day life, and without even realizing it, they start defining you. Not because they're powerful, but because you keep feeding them through repetition and inaction. If you're not moving forward, it's not always because you lack motivation or discipline. Sometimes, it's because your energy is being bled by the habits you've refused to confront. The mind is a powerful engine, but it cannot operate at full capacity if it's constantly being pulled in 10 directions by habits that offer no value. You can have all the right intentions, but if your habits don't align with your growth, you'll keep circling the same problems. You don't eliminate weak habits through willpower alone. You eliminate them by being brutally honest with yourself. You look at your actions and ask, what is this costing me? Every scroll, every delayed task, every unhealthy indulgence, every conversation that goes nowhere, what is the true price? Weak habits don't just waste time. They weaken your identity. They teach your mind that comfort is more important than progress. And every time you repeat them, you reinforce that message. To take control of your life, you have to get serious about what you tolerate. Not just from the world, but from yourself. Stop pretending that 5 minutes of distraction here and there doesn't matter. Stop rationalizing behaviors that take you away from your goals. Every habit, no matter how small, carries weight. And if you don't choose habits that elevate you, you will slowly adopt ones that diminish you. Start with awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Pay close attention to how you spend your time from the moment you wake up. What do you do when your energy is high? What do you do when you're bored, stressed, or tired? What actions are automatic but offer no return? Which habits leave you feeling empty, guilty, or distracted? Write them down. Study them. You don't need to judge yourself. Just observe with clarity. Once you identify the habits that drain you, strip them of their power by understanding the trigger. Every habit is connected to a cue, a feeling, a moment, an environment. Do you reach for your phone because you're bored? Do you procrastinate because you fear failure? Do you gossip to feel included? Behind every weak habit is a need you're trying to meet. When you find the root, you can start replacing the behavior instead of just resisting it. Weak habits often thrive in unstructured environments. If your days have no rhythm, distractions will dominate. If your time isn't protected, it will be stolen. You need structure, not to control every second, but to guide your focus. Create routines that eliminate decision fatigue. Plan your most important tasks during your peak energy hours. Define when you rest and when you work. The more intentional you are with your time, the less room weak habits have to grow. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you think. If you keep unhealthy snacks in plain sight, you'll eat them. If your phone is always next to you, you'll check it. If your workspace is chaotic, your mind will be too. Make it harder to engage in the habits you want to eliminate. Delete the apps. Move the temptations. Clear the clutter. Create physical distance between yourself and the behavior you're trying to avoid. It sounds simple, but it works. Friction breaks patterns. Don't try to quit every weak habit at once. Focus on the ones that are costing you the most. Pick one and replace it with a behavior that serves you. If you scroll in bed at night, replace it with reading 5 pages. If you waste time in the morning, replace it with stretching or planning your day. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to take control, to interrupt the old pattern and insert a new one that's aligned with who you're becoming. You have to make it personal. Weak habits continue because they don't feel urgent to fix, but they are. Every day spent indulging them is a day of progress lost. That's not dramatic. It's real. Time doesn't pause while you recover your focus. Life keeps moving, and every moment wasted adds to the gap between where you are and where you could be. That truth should bother you, not to shame yourself, but to wake up, to care enough about your life that you stop giving away pieces of it to meaningless habits. There's a difference between rest and escape, between recovery and avoidance. Weak habits often pretend to be rest, but real rest replenishes you. It restores your mind, it prepares you to return stronger. Weak habits just distract you temporarily and leave you worse off. Learn to recognize the difference. Build real recovery into your day. Walks, deep breathing, meaningful conversation, creative time. Don't confuse avoidance for self-care. It's not enough to remove weak habits, you must also strengthen your identity. Start seeing yourself as someone who has high standards, someone who doesn't tolerate distractions, someone who values their time and protects their energy. Every time you choose a strong habit over a weak one, you reinforce this identity. And over time, it becomes easier to make the right choices because they feel natural. They're not a fight anymore, they're who you are. Track your progress, keep score, not to be perfect, but to be aware. Create a list of habits you're working to eliminate. Put it where you can see it. Every day you resist them is a win. Celebrate the small victories. Momentum is built through repetition. The more often you act in alignment with your standards, the more natural it becomes to maintain them. Be prepared for resistance. The old habits will try to pull you back. They'll whisper that one more scroll won't hurt, that you can start fresh tomorrow. That comfort is harmless. Ignore the noise. You're not at war with the habit, you're at war with the story it tells you. You're not missing out. You're building something better. You're not being rigid. You're being deliberate. Don't negotiate with behavior that has no place in the life you're creating. There's no shortcut to rewiring your mind. It takes patience, persistence, and repetition. But each time you eliminate a habit that drains you, you create space for one that builds you. You reclaim time, clarity, energy, and pride. That's a powerful trade. And the more you make it, the more control you regain over your life. Your potential is not a mystery. It's not something you'll discover by accident. It's something you access through discipline, clarity, and deliberate action. Weak habits blur that clarity. They dim your ambition. They confuse your purpose. That's why they must go, not just for productivity, but for identity. Because you can't become who you're meant to be, while still clinging to the behaviors that kept you average. Think long-term. Weak habits feel harmless in the short run, but their cost compounds. 1 hour a day wasted on distraction adds up to over 15 days a year. That's more than 2 full weeks of lost growth. Now multiply that over a decade. That's the price of just a little bit. That's what you're really giving up. Not just time, but opportunity, strength, and momentum. Cut the excuses. Stop telling yourself you deserve a break if that break turns into hours of avoidance. Stop justifying patterns that you know are holding you back. You're not fragile. You're not helpless. You're not stuck. You're just used to comfort.
And the only way to move forward is to let go of the habits that keep you there. You are capable of so much more than you're currently allowing yourself to experience. The only thing standing between you and that life is your willingness to break the cycle, to stop feeding the distractions, to get serious about what you truly want and what it requires from you, not just in theory, but in practice. Every day, replace judgment with responsibility. You don't need to beat yourself up for having weak habits. We all have them. What matters is what you do about them now. Will you keep repeating the same cycles? Or will you take control, shift your patterns, and choose better? This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, about not settling for habits that drain you, about refusing to live on autopilot. You only get one life, and it deserves more than being spent in comfort zones disguised as routines. Choose awareness, choose discipline, choose progress. The weak habits you eliminate today create the strength you'll stand on tomorrow. Every strong life is built by subtracting what doesn't belong, one choice at a time, one action at a time, one standard at a time. Keep subtracting what no longer serves you, and what remains will be your power.
Chapter 5. Push your limits until your strength becomes normal. Most people never understand how strong they really are because they never give themselves the chance to find out. They avoid pressure. They hide from challenges. They stay where it feels safe and predictable. But strength isn't something that appears on its own. It's built through resistance. It's formed in discomfort. If you don't push beyond what feels normal, you never break the limits that hold you back. You stay stuck at the same level, telling yourself you've hit your ceiling when really, you've just gotten too comfortable with your routine. You don't grow stronger by repeating what's easy. You grow stronger by doing what makes you uncomfortable until it no longer does. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with moments that test you, that challenge your will, that exhaust you, that scare you, and the only way through is to lean in, to do the work even when it's hard, to keep going when your mind starts negotiating. You don't become powerful by hoping for motivation. You earn it by showing up when you don't feel like it and finishing anyway. The human body and mind are built to adapt, but they only adapt when they're forced to. If you keep operating at the same level, you'll stay the same. If you never increase the difficulty, your capacity will never grow. Strength is built the same way in every area of life, through effort, repetition, and progressive challenge. You lift heavier weights. You take on harder problems. You increase the intensity, and what once felt impossible starts to feel routine. If something scares you, it's probably the next thing you need to do, not to prove something to anyone else, but to remind yourself of what you're made of. Growth lives on the other side of fear, not because fear disappears, but because you become too focused on your purpose to let it control you. Strength isn't about eliminating fear, it's about continuing despite it. Every time you step forward anyway, you build confidence, not through words but through action. Waiting to feel ready is just another form of resistance. You don't need to feel prepared. You need to start. Most people delay their progress because they want certainty before they move. But the truth is, clarity comes from movement. The more you take action, the more capable you become. You don't have to know every step. Just take the first one, then the next. Let momentum build. Let discipline carry you when motivation fades. If your life feels too easy, it probably means you're not pushing hard enough. It means you're staying within your known limits. And limits don't stretch unless you apply pressure. You need to place yourself in situations that require more from you, that demand higher focus, more effort, deeper presence, that force you to rise. These are the moments that forge strength, not in comfort, but in demand. The more you push yourself, the more normal high effort becomes. And that's when everything changes. There's no shortcut to this. You can't fake consistency. You can't pretend to push. Your results will always reflect the intensity of your effort, and the ones who grow are the ones who stop negotiating with excuses, who stop telling themselves stories about what they can't do, who stop waiting for the right time. They just show up and get to work. Not because it's easy, but because they've decided to take control of their evolution. Strength isn't just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's the ability to hold yourself together when everything is falling apart. It's the resilience to keep moving, even when nothing around you is supporting your progress. It's the willingness to face discomfort on purpose, because deep down, you know you're built for more than just survival. You know you're not here to coast. You're here to grow, to fight, to rise. You won't always feel like giving your best. That's why discipline matters more than emotion. If you rely on feelings, you'll quit the moment things get hard. But if you train yourself to do the work regardless, you'll develop a kind of strength that no one can take from you. That's what separates the average from the elite. Not talent, but the willingness to suffer for a greater purpose. The patience to endure boredom, repetition and failure, until excellence becomes the only standard. You need to stop being afraid of exhaustion. Stop trying to protect yourself from effort. The pain of pushing yourself is temporary, but the pain of never growing is permanent. That's the real cost. Not being tired, but being disappointed. Not being uncomfortable, but being underdeveloped. If you never struggle, you'll never evolve. And if you never evolve, you'll look back on your life full of potential you never used. Every time you push beyond your limit, your new limit expands. That's how you grow. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once felt heavy becomes light. The process doesn't get easier, you get better. And that's the goal, to look back and not recognize the person you used to be. Because you've outworked your old patterns. Because you've outgrown your former limits. Because you've built yourself from the inside out. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to your previous self. Are you stronger today than you were yesterday? Are you more focused, more grounded, more committed? That's what matters. Not how far ahead someone else is, but how far you've come by doing the hard work consistently. Every day you show up with intention, you reinforce your identity. You become the type of person who pushes, who grows, who never settles. This is the part where most people stop. Right when it starts to get uncomfortable. Right when it begins to hurt. But that's exactly where you need to keep going. That's where the shift happens. Not when things are easy, but when you continue despite the difficulty. Every breakthrough comes after resistance. Every transformation follows pressure. If you want to experience real change, you have to keep going through that barrier. That's where your strength is hiding. You are capable of far more than you believe. But capability means nothing without effort. Potential is worthless if it stays dormant. You must put yourself in positions where your current level isn't enough, where you're forced to level up, where you have to adapt, improve, rise. That's the arena where growth lives, where strength is no longer something you talk about, it's something you become. Start embracing struggle. Start choosing the hard path on purpose. Not because you enjoy the pain,
but because you understand what it produces. Strength is forged in adversity, in the extra reps, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the choices that most people avoid. These are the spaces where the uncommon are born, not by luck, not by chance, but by choice, by a daily commitment to push when it would be easier to rest. The more you do what's hard, the more your mind rewires itself to expect effort, and eventually what once felt like a stretch becomes your new baseline. That's when you know you've changed, not because the world told you so, but because you've raised your own standards. You've expanded your limits. You've normalized strength. And now anything less feels foreign. If you want real power, you have to earn it. Through discipline, through sacrifice, through consistent pressure. You have to train your mind to seek growth instead of comfort, to lean into resistance instead of avoiding it, to chase challenges instead of running from them. That's how you become unshakable, not through ease but through repeated exposure to hard things. You don't need to be extreme, you just need to be relentless, to push every day in small meaningful ways, to do one more rep, one more task, one more hour of focus. These small choices compound, they reshape your identity, they condition you to expect more from yourself. And when you expect more, you act differently. You think bigger, you stop settling. Make struggle your ally. Let it shape you, let it sharpen you, let it teach you what you're truly capable of. There's power in the hard things. They reveal your character. They expose your weaknesses. And if you keep showing up, they help you eliminate those weaknesses and replace them with strength. You won't always see results immediately, but that doesn't mean the work isn't working. Growth takes time. Strength is built in layers. Trust the process. Keep stacking small wins. Keep pushing a little further. Stay locked in on your vision and refuse to go back to who you were before the work began. You don't need perfect conditions. You need consistent pressure. You need to remind yourself daily that growth is not optional. That strength is the price of freedom. That comfort is the enemy of excellence. Make your ambition louder than your excuses. Make your actions stronger than your fears. And keep pushing until the person you are becomes someone you admire. The world doesn't need more people playing it safe. It needs more people willing to push, to stretch, to break the limits they once accepted. Be that person. Raise the standard. And don't stop until your strength becomes so normal, so natural, that people mistake it for talent. But you'll know it was built, earned, fought for, and that's what will make it unshakable.
Chapter 6. Protect your focus by cutting out all noise. Most people never realize how much they're giving away until they feel empty, distracted, drained. Not because they're working too hard, but because their attention is constantly under attack. Their focus is split between messages, updates, headlines, gossip, opinions, and noise that offers no value, no direction, no clarity. You can't build a focused life if you're surrounded by mental clutter. You can't move with intention if your mind is reacting to every notification, every distraction, every interruption. You have to cut the noise if you want to hear your own thoughts clearly. You have to strip away everything that doesn't serve your mission if you want to stay aligned. Focus is not a natural state in a world that's built to scatter your mind. It's a discipline. It's a decision you make daily. Either you control your inputs, or they will control you. Either you choose your priorities, or the world will choose them for you. And the world doesn't care about your goals. It only cares about your attention. If you wake up and the first thing you do is scroll, you've already handed away your focus. You've allowed the outside world to dictate the tone of your day before you've even spoken to yourself. That's how people lose themselves. Not all at once, but piece by piece. A little distraction here, a little wasted energy there, until one day they can't hear their own intuition, because the volume of the noise has become too loud. You need to become ruthless about protecting your mental space, because everything that enters your mind takes up room, and there's only so much space. If you fill it with junk, there's no room for clarity, there's no room for creativity, no space left for real thinking, deep work, purposeful action. That's why you need boundaries. Not to be cold or isolated, but to stay centered, to stay clear, to stay in command of your direction. People who do great things don't live reactive lives. They're not chasing 10 things at once. They're locked in. They're intentional. They know what they're building and why it matters. So they say no to the noise. They shut out the distractions. They structure their day around what actually moves them forward. They're not more talented. They're just more focused. And that focus comes from making hard decisions about what doesn't belong. Every time you check something meaningless, you break your own rhythm. Every time you give your attention to something trivial, you dilute your energy. It's not about being perfect. It's about being disciplined. You don't need to eliminate every distraction forever. You just need to learn when to cut them off. When to silence the outside world so you can hear your own thoughts. When to turn down the volume on everything else and double down on what matters. There's a reason some people are calm while others are chaotic. It's not luck. It's not circumstances. It's clarity. It's order. It's intention. The calm ones have learned how to guard their focus like it's sacred, because it is. Your focus determines your results. It determines your identity. It becomes the foundation for your discipline, your energy, your decisions. If you lose focus, you lose your edge. You weren't designed to multitask your entire day. You weren't built to constantly process notifications, switch tabs, answer messages, and jump from one stimulus to the next. Your mind isn't a machine. It's a muscle, and if you keep overstimulating it, it burns out. It weakens. It loses depth. That's why most people feel anxious, overwhelmed, unproductive. It's not because they're lazy. It's because they've never been taught how to protect their mental environment. Silence is not a luxury. It's a requirement. Stillness is not laziness. It's a strategy. You need time to think. You need space to reflect. You need clarity to know what your next move should be. But you'll never find that clarity if you're always plugged in, if your mind never gets a break, if your energy is scattered across too many low-value inputs. You have to be willing to disconnect, not because the world doesn't matter, but because your focus matters more. Not every conversation deserves your time. Not every issue requires your opinion. Not every update is worth your attention. You have to become selective, deliberate, strategic. Every time you protect your time, you're saying yes to your long-term vision. Every time you choose silence over noise, you're reinforcing discipline. It's not just about avoiding distractions, it's about cultivating presence. When you eliminate the unnecessary, you start to see clearly. You start to move with direction. You stop reacting and start creating. That's when things shift. When your day is shaped by your values, not by impulses. When your mind becomes a tool for progress instead of a victim of stimulation. You'll never outperform your distractions. You can have talent, ambition, and goals, but if your mind is constantly pulled in 20 directions, none of it will matter. Focus is the gateway to execution. Without it, all effort is diluted. All potential is wasted.
That's why the most powerful thing you can do is simplify. Cut the noise, get clear on what matters, and build a system that supports deep, meaningful work. The more you simplify, the more powerful you become. Complexity drains energy. Noise steals time. But clarity empowers you. It sharpens your decisions. It fuels your momentum. And it frees you from the endless loop of distraction that most people are trapped in. Simplicity is not weakness. It's power in its purest form. It means you've chosen what matters most, and you've let go of everything else. If you want to grow, you need to protect your energy. If you want to execute, you need to protect your schedule. If you want to stay grounded, you need to protect your mind. This doesn't happen automatically. You have to fight for it. You have to build a life that supports focus, that rewards depth, that encourages discipline, and that means cutting ties with anything that pulls you away from that standard. Sometimes the hardest part is letting go of social validation, letting go of comfort distractions, letting go of low-level conversations. But you can't hold on to everything and still move forward. You have to make room for your evolution. You have to build an environment where progress becomes your default. And that starts by taking control of what enters your life. You won't always feel like protecting your focus. You'll be tempted to scroll, to procrastinate, to distract yourself. That's when you have to remember your vision. You're not doing this to be rigid. You're doing it because your goals matter, because your future self depends on your present focus, because greatness doesn't happen in noise. It's built in silence, in effort, in moments that most people avoid. The more you train your focus, the more natural it becomes. Your mind learns to prioritize. Your energy learns to stay locked in. Your time becomes a tool, not a trap. And the more you live this way, the more distance you create between you and those who are stuck in mental chaos. Not because you're better, but because you've chosen to live with clarity. Focus is not a personality trait. It's a skill, one you develop by eliminating distractions and directing your energy toward what matters. You build it through repetition, through structure, through boundaries, and the more you practice it, the more you realize how much you were capable of all along. You just had to quiet the noise long enough to hear your own potential. There will always be more information, more drama, more distractions, but you don't have to participate in any of it. You can step back. You can unplug. You can design your day in a way that protects your priorities. And when you do, you become unstoppable. Because now you're not just busy, you're effective. Now you're not just working, you're building. Now you're not just moving, you're moving in the right direction. Every time you protect your focus, you build trust with yourself. You show yourself that your goals matter, that your time has value, that your life has purpose. And over time that builds a kind of inner strength that can't be shaken, because it's rooted in clarity, in direction, in truth. You won't need more motivation. You won't need more hacks. You'll have the most powerful advantage of all, a clear, focused mind backed by disciplined action. That's how you create results that last. That's how you break through plateaus. That's how you become the kind of person who moves forward no matter what. Silence the noise. Respect your time. Guard your energy. Stay locked in. Your future depends on what you choose to give your focus to today. Don't waste another minute. Take it back, and never let it go.
Chapter 7. Master your mornings to dominate your whole day. The way you start your morning determines how the rest of your day unfolds. It sets the tone, the energy, and the level of clarity you carry with you into everything you do. If your morning is chaotic, rushed, and reactive, then that's the rhythm you bring into your work, your conversations, and your decisions. But when your mornings are intentional, grounded, and focused, you move through your day with direction. You're not just surviving the hours, you're owning them. Most people wake up and instantly react to the world. They reach for their phone. They scroll through other people's lives. They get pulled into the demands of the day before they've even had a moment to collect themselves. Their thoughts aren't their own. Their energy gets hijacked by the outside world before they've even set a clear purpose. And by the time they try to catch up, it's already too late. They're not leading their day, they're being led by it. But that's a choice. You don't have to live like that. You can build a different kind of morning. One that puts you in control. One that gives you clarity before the noise begins. One that reminds you of who you are and what you're working toward before the distractions try to pull you off track. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent. Because the power isn't in doing it once. It's in doing it every single day until it becomes part of who you are. Mastering your morning isn't about waking up at a specific time. It's about building a system that works for your goals, your mind, and your future. It's about creating space to align with your vision before the world can interrupt it. It's about choosing intention over chaos, discipline over convenience, direction over distraction. And that starts the moment you open your eyes. You don't need to do 100 things. You need to do a few things well. Things that ground you, that energize you, that connect you to your purpose. It might be movement. It might be journaling. It might be sitting in silence and visualizing what you're building. Whatever it is, it has to matter to you. It has to give your mind a signal. Today, I'm in control. Today, I'm not leaving my focus to chance. Today, I'm showing up with intention. The first hour of your day is sacred. Guard it. Respect it. Own it. Because how you spend that hour will shape the momentum of everything that follows. If you start with discipline, you carry that strength into every task. If you start with clarity, you make better decisions all day long. If you start with peace, you don't get pulled into unnecessary drama or chaos. You're less reactive, more composed, more resilient. Don't start your day by consuming noise. Start it by creating alignment. Before the world asks for your attention, give your attention to your goals. Before people ask for your time, give time to yourself. Before problems show up, remind yourself of your values. That's not a luxury. That's a responsibility. If you want to lead your life, you can't just go with the flow. You need to create structure that keeps you anchored. It's not about motivation, it's about rhythm. Most days, you won't feel like getting up early or following a routine. But that's exactly when it matters most. When you act without waiting for the feeling, you reinforce self-trust. You show yourself that you are reliable, that you are in command, that your actions are based on purpose, not emotion. And the more you do that, the stronger your self-discipline becomes. People often search for the perfect routine, thinking the structure itself will change their life. But the real power doesn't come from what you do. It comes from doing it consistently. You can meditate, exercise, plan, reflect. But if you only do it when it's convenient, it will never transform you. The transformation comes when you show up, even on the days you don't want to. When you keep the promise to yourself. When you build the kind of identity that says, I follow through. The mornings are not just about productivity. They're about self-respect. They're about making a decision every day that says I matter enough to make time for myself.
I care enough about my goals to prioritize them before anything else. I believe enough in my future to act like it's already in motion. That's what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. How they start their day, with purpose or with passivity. You don't need a complicated plan. You just need to commit to a process that builds you, to a structure that challenges you, to habits that protect your time and energy. It might feel hard at first, but eventually it becomes second nature. And that's when the shift happens, when discipline becomes normal, when clarity becomes automatic, when growth becomes a natural part of your morning. Most people underestimate the power of a strong morning. They think it's a small thing, but it's not. It's the foundation for everything else. You can't control every part of your day, but you can control how you enter it. You can decide whether you walk into it with chaos or with command. And that decision, made daily, compounds over time. It becomes momentum. It becomes transformation. When you take your morning seriously, your life starts to change in quiet but powerful ways. You don't feel as scattered. You don't get thrown off by small problems. You don't waste hours trying to get back on track, because you already started on track. You already set your mindset. You already claimed your focus. That's how you win days consistently, by owning the first part of them. You have to become your own anchor, because no one else will do it for you. The world doesn't slow down to give you time to think. It won't pause to let you reset. It keeps moving. So you have to build that space into your routine. You have to create your own reset. Every single morning, before the world takes over, there will be temptations to sleep in, to check your phone, to procrastinate. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you get stronger. You separate yourself from the masses. You prove to yourself that your future matters more than your momentary feeling. And that kind of strength builds over time. It becomes your identity. If you want a better life, start by mastering your morning. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. But it works. Over and over again. Because when your mornings are strong, your mind is strong. When your mind is strong, your actions align. And when your actions align with your vision, results follow. You don't need to do what everyone else is doing. You don't need to copy anyone's routine. You need to build your own, based on your values, your priorities, your goals. And then you need to commit to it with discipline, with patience, with consistency. The results will come. But they start with how you show up, before the world asks anything of you. Your future isn't created in the big moments. It's created in the quiet hours, in the early mornings, in the decisions you make when no one is watching. That's where self-mastery begins. That's where growth takes root. That's where strength is built. One focused morning at a time. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Just decide. Decide that your mornings will no longer be wasted, that they will no longer be reactive, that they will no longer be surrendered to distractions. Decide that you will lead yourself before anything else can. That one decision made today and repeated every morning will change your life. Not all at once, but steadily, powerfully, permanently. Because when you master your mornings, you stop chasing the day. You start leading it. You stop drifting. You start dominating. No more excuses. No more wasted starts. Just clarity. Just structure. Just action that reflects who you're becoming. The world can wait. Your goals can't. Start strong. Stay focused. And never again let a morning slip through your fingers.
Chapter 8. Choose long-term growth over short-term comfort always. The world is constantly pushing us toward instant gratification. We live in an age of convenience where everything we want is just a click, swipe, or tap away. The lure of short-term comfort is powerful, whether it's taking the easy way out, avoiding discomfort, or choosing relaxation over effort. It's tempting, and for many it feels good in the moment. But that feeling is fleeting. The satisfaction is shallow, and the long-term consequences can be severe. When you choose comfort over growth, you make a trade. You exchange the potential for greatness for the illusion of happiness that comes from avoiding effort. But growth is a journey. It's built by making hard decisions. It's forged in the crucible of discomfort. It requires you to step outside your comfort zone repeatedly and put in the work when it's the hardest, when it feels like nothing is happening. That's when the real transformation occurs. Short-term comfort will never build lasting strength. It might make you feel better in the immediate moment, but the price you pay is your potential. Comfort lures you into a cycle of procrastination, of avoiding the discomfort that leads to real progress. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, or that you'll work harder once things are easier. But things don't get easier. The world doesn't slow down to give you time to grow. If you keep waiting for the perfect time, you'll be waiting forever. Long-term growth, on the other hand, requires a mindset shift. It's about seeing beyond the immediate moment and focusing on the bigger picture. It's about knowing that the pain you feel today is the strength you will have tomorrow. Every time you choose to face discomfort, you strengthen your ability to persevere. Every time you put in the work when it's easier to quit, you build a foundation for something greater. This isn't about sacrificing happiness for the sake of hardship. It's about realizing that real happiness comes from doing what's hard, from pushing yourself to be better, from knowing that you're making progress even when it's not immediately visible. When you choose long-term growth, you're choosing resilience. You're choosing persistence. You're choosing to become someone who can handle challenges, someone who doesn't back down when the going gets tough. And here's the secret, that resilience becomes a part of who you are. It becomes a habit. It becomes your identity. You stop being someone who avoids discomfort and start becoming someone who seeks it, who knows that discomfort is the gateway to personal development. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of comfort. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain, which is why instant gratification feels so good. But here's the thing, that pleasure is temporary. It's fleeting. It doesn't last. On the other hand, long-term growth compounds. Every small effort you make toward growth builds upon the last, creating momentum that carries you forward. And the more you make that choice, the easier it becomes to make it again. Every time you choose the long road over the short one, you're reinforcing your ability to keep going. Choosing long-term growth isn't about rejecting comfort altogether. It's about understanding the difference between what's truly beneficial for your future and what feels good in the moment. It's about knowing that the price of growth is discomfort, but that discomfort is not only worth it, it's necessary. Growth doesn't come from staying where you are. It comes from challenging yourself, from stepping into new spaces, from taking risks that make you feel uneasy. It's about learning to see discomfort as a sign that you're on the right path, that you're pushing the boundaries of what you thought was possible. If you want to build lasting success, you have to embrace this truth. Short-term comfort always comes with a price, and that price is your potential. You can keep choosing the easy path, the path that doesn't challenge you, the path that doesn't force you to grow, but in doing so you rob yourself of the very thing that will make you extraordinary. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in the stretch. It happens in the places where you feel scared, uncertain, and unsure of yourself.
It happens when you push through your limits and keep going even when it feels impossible. The journey to greatness is never easy. If it were, everyone would do it. But the fact that most people take the easy way out is what gives you an advantage. Most people want the rewards without the work. They want success without sacrifice. But you know better. You know that success is built on consistency, on pushing yourself even when you don't feel like it. You understand that greatness is earned over time, through consistent, disciplined action. You might find yourself looking at someone who seems to have it all together and think, why can't I just take a shortcut? But the truth is, there are no shortcuts. Those who seem to have it all together didn't get there by avoiding the hard work. They got there by embracing the grind, by making decisions that hurt in the moment but paid off in the long run. They understood that the work they put in today is what made them who they are tomorrow. And you can do the same. Choosing long-term growth is also about understanding the value of sacrifice. Every time you say no to short-term pleasure, you're making an investment in your future self. When you skip the junk food, you're choosing health. When you turn off the TV and pick up a book, you're choosing knowledge. When you wake up early to work on your goals, you're choosing progress. These sacrifices may seem small in the moment, but over time they add up. They compound, and they create a life that is a direct reflection of your commitment to growth. It's easy to fall into the trap of instant gratification, to give in to the temptation of what feels good now. But true success doesn't come from what feels good now. It comes from doing the things that are difficult but rewarding. It comes from building a mindset that values long-term rewards over fleeting pleasure. It comes from knowing that your efforts today will determine your future. And that is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity. Growth isn't linear. Some days will feel like you're making progress, and others will feel like you're taking 2 steps back. But here's the key. Even on the days when you feel like you're failing, you're still moving forward. Every step, even the hard ones, is a step closer to the person you're becoming. And that person is someone who doesn't back down. Someone who knows that the sacrifices made today will pay off tomorrow. Someone who is willing to push through discomfort to create something lasting. It's not easy. It's not always fun. But it's worth it. And if you want to build a life that reflects your potential, you have to be willing to make the hard choices. You have to be willing to say no to short-term comfort and yes to long-term growth. Because at the end of the day, it's the growth that will give you the strength, the success and the fulfillment you're looking for. So the next time you face a decision, ask yourself, is this choice leading me toward short-term comfort or long-term growth? Will this choice make me feel good for 5 minutes? Or will it build a foundation for the future I'm working toward? And choose wisely. Choose growth. Always. Because the rewards of long-term growth far outweigh the fleeting pleasure of short-term comfort. When you choose growth, you choose strength. You choose resilience. You choose progress. And those choices are what will transform your life from ordinary to extraordinary. Choose growth, and you'll never regret it. Choose comfort, and you'll never know what you could have become.
Chapter 9. Track your progress to stay honest and hungry. Progress is a tricky thing. Sometimes it feels like you're working hard, pushing through every obstacle, giving your all, and yet nothing seems to be changing. That feeling of stagnation is a killer. It's not the absence of effort that hurts the most. It's the confusion of not knowing whether you're on the right track or if you're just spinning your wheels. To keep yourself from falling into that trap, there's one thing you can do: track your progress. The act of tracking is one of the most powerful tools you can use in your journey of personal growth. It does more than just give you a record of your actions. It holds you accountable. It provides clarity. It allows you to see how far you've come and where you need to go next. And perhaps most importantly, it keeps you hungry. The hunger for improvement is fueled by progress. It's a hunger that drives you forward, and the best way to keep that hunger alive is to measure how much progress you've made, no matter how small it may seem at times. When you track your progress, you take control. You stop leaving things to chance. You stop assuming that you're moving forward when you're not. Tracking provides the kind of feedback you need to course correct when necessary, and it gives you the confidence to keep going when it feels like you've reached a dead end. Most importantly, it prevents you from becoming complacent. When you can see how far you've come, you won't be satisfied with staying in the same place. You'll always want more. You'll always want to go further. You'll never let yourself settle for average. It's easy to lose sight of your progress when you're in the thick of it. Each day blends into the next, and all you can focus on is the mountain ahead. But progress doesn't happen in giant leaps. It happens in small, consistent steps, and those steps are hard to notice unless you're paying attention. By tracking your progress, you can see how every little action adds up. Those small victories that seem insignificant in the moment accumulate into something much bigger over time. When you take the time to track, you're not just watching your progress, you're celebrating it. The simple act of writing down what you accomplish each day can do wonders for your mindset. It's a concrete reminder that you're moving forward, even on days when it feels like you're stuck. Seeing your progress laid out in front of you helps put things into perspective. You might not have crossed off everything on your to-do list, but if you've made any progress at all, you've done something worthwhile. The key is to celebrate those wins, no matter how small. They add up. They matter, and they'll push you toward even bigger accomplishments. Tracking your progress also helps you avoid the trap of comparison. It's easy to look at where others are and feel discouraged, but that's an unfair comparison. You're on your own journey, and your progress is unique to you. When you track your own progress, you get to measure success by your own standards. It's not about how fast someone else is moving. It's about how much you're improving from where you started. That's what matters. And when you can see the growth you've made, the hunger to keep improving intensifies. You stop looking at others and start focusing on yourself. You become your own competition. Another powerful benefit of tracking your progress is that it keeps you honest. There's no room for denial when you're actively tracking your actions. If you say you're committed to your goals but haven't taken any meaningful steps toward them, the evidence will be right there in front of you. This honesty is crucial. Without it, you're just fooling yourself. Tracking your progress helps you face the truth about your habits, your routines, and your efforts. It holds you accountable to the promises you've made to yourself. Tracking your progress is about more than just logging accomplishments. It's about tracking your actions, your thoughts, and your behaviors. This isn't a process of micromanaging every detail, but a practice of gaining awareness. How often are you letting distractions pull you off course? How many times are you falling back into old habits that derail your progress? By keeping track of those moments, you gain insight into the patterns that keep you stuck. And with that insight, you can begin to break those patterns. You can begin to make choices that align with your goals, and you'll find that, over time, you naturally become more disciplined and focused. There's also a psychological benefit to tracking your progress. When you see a tangible record of what you've accomplished, it reinforces the belief that you are capable. You start to recognize that the actions you take have real-world impact. You're no longer just working blindly, you're actively creating results.
This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you track, the more you see the fruits of your labor. The more you see those fruits, the more motivated you become. The hunger for success becomes insatiable, and that hunger drives you to keep going, even when the going gets tough. Tracking also helps you stay realistic. It's easy to set ambitious goals, but without a clear record of your progress, it's easy to lose track of what's actually feasible. By tracking, you can break your larger goals down into smaller, more manageable steps. You can see if you're overestimating your abilities, or if you're underestimating how much work it will take. With this knowledge, you can adjust your expectations and set yourself up for success. You'll never be blindsided by your own lack of preparation. When you track your progress, you're constantly reaffirming your commitment to yourself. It's a reminder that you're not in this to just get through the day. You're in this to achieve something, and that something matters. Whether it's personal growth, career goals, fitness milestones, or anything else, the act of tracking shows you that what you're doing is not just another fleeting task. It's part of something bigger. It's part of your life's work. And that's a big deal. But the key to tracking is consistency. You can't track your progress 1 week and then forget about it for a month. If you want to see the real impact of your actions, you have to commit to tracking every day, every step, every move. Consistency is the glue that holds your progress together. Without it, you won't be able to see the full picture. And more importantly, you won't stay accountable. You'll lose sight of where you started and where you're going. Tracking requires discipline. It requires you to stay honest with yourself, to show up every day and make the choice to improve, even when it's hard. This is where the hunger comes in. The hunger to keep improving, to keep pushing forward, is fueled by the knowledge that you are actively making progress. You'll never grow complacent if you're always measuring your progress and seeing how much closer you're getting to your goal. The process of tracking keeps you sharp. It keeps you focused, and it ensures that even on days when you don't feel like moving forward, you have the motivation to take the next step. It doesn't matter how small that step is. What matters is that you take it. And when you track it, you acknowledge that step. You see it. You honor it. Because every step counts. Every day counts. And if you keep tracking, you'll look back one day and realize that all those small steps have turned into something massive. You'll see that your commitment to growth, your focus on improvement, and your constant tracking of progress has brought you further than you could have ever imagined. And that is where the hunger comes from, the realization that all your efforts, however small they may have seemed in the moment, have added up to something extraordinary. Tracking your progress is more than just a way to measure success. It's a way to keep you honest, motivated, and focused. It's a way to ensure that you never lose sight of the bigger picture, even on days when it feels like nothing is changing. It's a way to fuel your hunger for growth and success. And it's the key to staying on track as you work toward becoming the best version of yourself. So start today. Track your progress, stay honest, and keep that hunger alive.
Chapter 10. Commit to becoming better every single damn day. Commitment is the cornerstone of any journey toward personal growth, success, and excellence. But this is not a commitment to some distant, abstract goal. It's a commitment to becoming better day by day. No exceptions. It's the kind of commitment that doesn't allow for days off, for excuses, or for compromise. It's the unwavering dedication to push yourself, to challenge yourself, to evolve into the best version of who you can be every single day. When you decide to commit to getting better every day, you are making a decision that affects every aspect of your life. It becomes the foundation of everything you do. Your attitude, your actions, your choices, your mindset, they all begin to shift toward this one singular goal: continuous improvement. And when you make this decision, you open the door to a new level of growth. This is no longer about a few fleeting bursts of effort or temporary spurts of motivation. This is about creating a mindset that is hardwired for constant improvement. This is about becoming relentless in your pursuit of progress. Commitment to becoming better every day requires discipline. It requires you to show up, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when life gets in the way. It doesn't matter what's happening outside of you. What matters is that you choose to stay focused on what's in front of you. Every single day, you have the chance to improve in some way. It could be small, it could be massive, but the key is that you never let a day pass without doing something that moves you closer to your goals. This kind of commitment isn't easy. The truth is, it will challenge you. It will push you in ways you never expected. But that's the point. When you commit to being better every single day, you are making a choice to never settle for the status quo. You are saying, I'm not going to be satisfied with who I am right now. I'm going to push myself further. I'm going to become something greater than I've ever been before. It's a promise to yourself that you will never stop striving for progress. To become better every day, you must make the conscious decision to adopt a growth mindset. A growth mindset means that you see every challenge, every setback, and every failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. Instead of being discouraged by obstacles, you welcome them. You understand that every mistake is a lesson. Every setback is a chance to come back stronger. And every challenge is an invitation to push your limits, to stretch yourself further than you ever thought possible. When you commit to becoming better every single day, you also commit to taking full responsibility for your life. You stop making excuses. You stop blaming circumstances, other people, or bad luck for your failures. Instead, you own your choices, your actions, and the results that come from them. This is an empowering way to live. When you take responsibility for your life, you realize that you have the power to change it. You realize that you are in control, and with that control comes the ability to continuously improve. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of perfection. Many people believe that to be successful, to be the best, you must be flawless. But this is a trap. Perfection doesn't exist. You will never be perfect, and the more you chase perfection, the more you'll set yourself up for disappointment and frustration. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Progress is something that can always be achieved. Perfection is an illusion. Every time you improve, no matter how small, you've moved forward. That's what matters. Commit to progress, commit to improvement, and commit to the relentless pursuit of becoming better. A major part of committing to becoming better every day is building the habits that support this growth. Habits are the foundation of success. Without the right habits, your progress will be slow and inconsistent. But with the right habits, you can achieve anything. The habits you form today will determine who you become tomorrow. If you want to be someone who constantly improves, you need to create habits that align with that vision. Start small. Start with simple, actionable steps that you can commit to consistently. Over time, these small actions will become ingrained in your routine, and you'll find that improvement starts to feel effortless. Consistency is the key to success. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: consistency. It's easy to get motivated for a day, a week, or even a month. But what sets the successful apart is the ability to stay consistent over the long term. When you commit to becoming better every day, you are committing to consistency. You are saying, I will show up, no matter what. I will do the work every day,
even when I don't feel like it. I will put in the effort, even when it seems like nothing is changing. I will keep going, because I know that every step, every day, brings me closer to my goal. You'll face days when you feel like you're not making any progress. You'll feel frustrated. You'll feel stuck. But this is where the power of consistency comes in. You keep going, even when you can't see the results. You trust that the work you're putting in today will pay off tomorrow. And eventually, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. It won't be in a sudden, dramatic leap. It will be the accumulation of small actions, repeated day after day, that lead to massive results. Sometimes you'll hit a wall. You'll experience burnout or fatigue. And it's in those moments that your commitment to becoming better every day will be tested. This is when most people quit. They hit a roadblock and they give up. But you're not like most people. You've made a commitment to yourself to push through those tough moments, to rise above them, and to continue working toward your goal, no matter how hard it gets. You push yourself further than you've ever gone before, and you come out stronger on the other side. The struggle is part of the process. It's how you grow. And every time you face adversity and keep going, you strengthen your resolve to become better every day. This kind of commitment doesn't just change you as a person, it changes the way you approach life. You start to see every situation as an opportunity to grow. You no longer fear challenges. You embrace them. You know that each obstacle is just another chance to learn, to improve, and to become more resilient. When you adopt the mindset of